Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Next Level Her podcast. I'm your girl, Pauline, and this is a space where real journeys, real growth, and real you come to life personally, professionally, and spiritually. And today's topic is resilience and entrepreneurship. When it comes to resilience, whether you're building from scratch or you're rebuilding after a setback or simply trying to stay grounded while you're trying to scale your business, resilience is the glue that's really going to hold your vision together when things get tough. So, let's get into it and talk about my journey in entrepreneurship. So, as you guys know, I am a loctician, I'm a licensed cosmetologist, I'm a coach, and I'm a mentor for other opticians. And so when I think about resilience, resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's more about getting stronger and wiser and more rooted with every experience, right? Or every test, some people might call it. I just think about my path to entrepreneurship. I started early on, honestly. I don't think I've ever shared this, but I started doing hair when I was 14. I had a cousin who taught me how to do hair. I spent one summer at her home and she did my hair for back to school, and I was very intrigued, and I asked her about, "Hey, how did you connect those extensions to my hair?" And she showed me, and I'm just someone who's just curious by nature. And when I'm curious, I ask questions and I try to figure it out. So she showed me, and I was like, this is very interesting. I'm going to go home and practice. Of course, I practiced. So throughout my entire high school, for the most part, I did hair. I did hair for my sisters, I did hair for my friends, and just other classmates, other students, and I did hair for just people who found out about me based on my work and contacted me and wanted to get their hair done. And at the time, since I was in high school, I was doing hair at my mom's at my parents' home. So they weren't always too psyched about that, but that's pretty much how that journey began, right? And then after I left high school, I went to college. I did it a little bit, but did not really pursue it because by the time I graduated high school and went to college, I was burnt out and did not really want to do hair. So I only did it for a couple of people. So when I left college, I remember I was searching for a job. When I moved to Georgia, I was searching, I couldn't find anything. And so I remember this company, it was, I don't remember the name of the company per se, but it was pretty much enrolling people to sell knives, Cutco. So Cutco was the name of the company, but the other company that would, like the parent company over it, wasn't that. It was something else. But I remember I thought I was going in for like an admin position. Come to find out, it was some type of sales position to sell knives. And it was commission based, and they wanted me to sell these knives. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even be in the kitchen like that. And I'm over here trying to sell knives. So because I didn't have anything else to bank on or to fall back on, I was like, well, let me just try this out and see. And I remember doing one presentation and I was thinking to myself, this ain't gonna work. This is not going to work. I did it. I showed up. I did what I had to do, but I realized it wasn't going to work for me. So I decided, I think after like maybe a month or two, I decided to not pursue that. And then I eventually got a job that was in commission, regular 9 to 5, working in corporate, right? But while I was there, I still dibble and dabble. Is that correct? Dibble and dabble in other ventures. I did Mary Kay, did that for a while. I did a lot of MLM companies. I did isogenics. I did paparazzi. Listen, if you name it, I probably done it. Okay, I've done a couple of MLM companies, work with them, and I learned a lot. I did whatever I needed to do. But what I love about the different experiences is that I was always learning different skills, learning how to work with a team, learning how to build a team, learning how to communicate, learning how to motivate people. You learn so much. Like, if you ever talk to somebody who's an entrepreneur, if you ever talk to an entrepreneur, trust me, ask them about their work history. They've done some type of MLM, okay? They've done some type of MLM. So if you're someone listening and you're like, I don't know if entrepreneurship is for me, if you've done like 2 MLMs or more, you're probably on the path to being an entrepreneur. Because I feel like that's kind of like a rite of passage for most entrepreneurs. But I did a lot of that stuff. And even when I left corporate America, when I left my 9 to 5, I still did some other MLM, worked with other MLM companies. So that's always something I've always dabbled into. But then I eventually went back to doing hair. So, but when I went back to doing hair, it wasn't just doing all types of hair. It was just doing specific type of hairstyle or hair lifestyle, which is doing locks. I did go to cosmetology school to learn to get an overall education when it comes to hair so I can cut, color, do all those things, but my main focus was doing locks. So when I left corporate and stepped fully into entrepreneurship, I thought that strategy was all that I needed, but truthfully, it was resilience that was going to carry me through. Listen, the late nights, the long nights. It's definitely strategy. Okay. So when I think about how resilience is built, a lot of times people think that when you see someone that's so resilient or it seems like they have it all together, people think that we are born with it. We aren't born with resilience. We just build as we go. Because the truth is, we don't have it all together. We're literally on the job learning as entrepreneurs. You're taking one step at a time and doing what you see fit based on past experiences. You're able to make better decisions, but we're all just building as we go. Each challenge, each missed opportunity, each time I had to pivot, those are just things that kind of help build my entrepreneurial journey and help build my endurance because you're going to try several things. You're going to have challenges, you're going to have different opportunities. You're going to pivot when I say several times. And you know what? It's okay. People be looking at all the stuff as if you seem like you don't know what you're doing or you're confused. Listen, even when you know what you're doing, you're going to pivot. Even when you know what you're doing, you're going to have challenges. Even when you know what you're doing, you're going to have missed opportunities. So when you think of resilience, just think of it as a muscle that you have to stretch and strengthen over time. And that's going to be able to help you to be more capable of holding the weight of your purpose over time. So whenever I am going through the ups and downs in entrepreneurship, right? I have to be reminded of my why. I have to always think about, okay, why am I doing this? Number one, going back to a 9 to 5 is not an option. That's not the first reason, but when I be struggling in this whole entrepreneurial streets out there, I'm like 9 to 5 is not an option. So I got to do what I got to do so I do not go back to a 9 to 5. But I also have to think about the people that I serve. I was put on this earth to serve. There's an audience, there's somebody that God wants me to serve. And I look forward to pleasing God and serving the people around me. So, regardless of what I'm doing in entrepreneurship, if you're in business, you are serving constantly. You are serving. So, when it comes to my why, I'm thinking about the people I serve. I think about why I started in the first place, what pushed me out of corporate, what made me desire entrepreneurship. And then I think about my family. I think about the legacy that I am creating. I think about those things to help to continue to build my resilience. So anytime I think about my why, it just propels me forward and keeps me going and gives me the strength that I need to continue to be who I am and to continue to show up for myself, for my family, and for God, honestly. So when you hear people like myself who've done several ventures, right? The whole MLM, different things like that. And even with me being a loctician, even with that, I've pivoted a lot within just that arena. I've pivoted a lot, but it's okay. And if you're someone who feel like you're pivoting, you're changing your mind, or you're trying to figure out what it is, and if you're trying different things and you feel like it didn't work out, and you start thinking, that you're failing, first of all, I personally do not believe in failure. So if you think you're failing, please change your perspective, because most people say failure is feedback. That's what most people say. But I don't believe in failure, because I see things that didn't work out as something that I needed to learn, right? So it's not that failure doesn't exist. It's just that my perspective, I view things differently. So I don't see things as failure, nor do I believe in it. So if someone, okay, when I went to college and studied sociology, I did nothing in sociology. I don't see that as failure. Before I did sociology, I was a business major. Dropped that and switched to sociology. But some people would say, oh, that was a failure, but I don't see it as a failure. At the time, I could not get it. I learned some things, but at the time, it wasn't the time for me to learn that stuff, right? So I switched to sociology. I got what I needed from the business program and switched to sociology. Then I got a 9 to 5. And then from the 9 to 5, left that and became an entrepreneur. So would you say the 9 to 5 was a failure? No. Anything that I've touched, anything that I've done, experience, is not, I don't see it as a failure. I see it as a necessary step to my next level. So even the business program that I dropped, that was a necessary step to the next level, which is sociology. I did not I did not do anything in sociology when I graduated, but even that was a necessary step to my next level. There were things that I learned that I'm able to implement till this day. And even my 9 to 5, I was there almost a decade. And that there were so many things that I learned in my 9 to 5, from organization to leadership to management to community to teamwork, customer service, everything. The list goes on. Auditing. I did so much within almost a decade. I was able to take those skills and use it even in my own business. I've learned so many transferable skills. So when I look at my 9 to 5, I don't see it as a wasted time. I don't see it as failure, because it was necessary. I had to learn those things. I had to go through the process to get to where I am today, which is the entrepreneurship arena, right? And those skills that I learned there, I am still utilizing till this day. So when people say failure, I always cringe, because I'm like, no, because in my mind, what I believe is that God does not make any mistakes. God doesn't make mistakes. So if God doesn't make mistakes, whatever arena, whatever area you're in right now, even if it's not panning out like you want it to, it's not a mistake. It is necessary for your next level. That Cutco, the Mary Kay, the Isogenics, the paparazzi, the whatever, The list goes on. All of that stuff was necessary for my next level. So I don't see those as failures. I just see them as necessary steps to the next level. So if you are on your entrepreneurial journey or you're thinking about being an entrepreneur and you're looking like, well, things I've done in the past didn't quite work out. No, they're just necessary for the next level. And so if you can just learn from those things, build on that, and then take those skills or whatever it is that you want to transfer to the next level, take them with you. I think for me, one of the best things I've ever learned was to ask, what is this trying to teach me? At every level, what is this trying to teach me? What is it that I need to learn here? And what is it do I need to take with me to the next level? Everything is a learning opportunity. Just going back to resilience, sometimes resilience just look like pushing forward. There are many times, and even sometimes, even recently, there are times I have to really push myself forward because not everything, it's like, yay, I'm going to do this, it's going to be great. Sometimes I'm not always in a mood to do things. But part of being resilient is doing the things that are uncomfortable, doing the things that you don't want to do. It's just pushing through and just keep moving forward. Other times it looks like pivoting, but it's not quitting at all. It's not quitting. You're just adjusting how you do things. When I create programs for my mentorship, when I do different strategies, it is just me adjusting what I do if I pivot or make a change. It is not failure. You're either pivoting, you're adjusting, you're learning whatever you need to learn so you can take it to the next level with you. So, whatever you do, if you can think of it that way, it will really help you with pushing through. And it will help you to get just a different perspective. And so when you have that different perspective, you approach things a little bit different. So ultimately, you just want to make sure you're listening to your gut. Pay attention to when something is no longer aligning with what you want. And once you realize that it doesn't align, pivot, adjust. But whatever you do, just don't quit. I remember maybe a couple of years ago, I was really out of alignment with my business. And I honestly, y'all, I wanted to throw the whole business in the trash. I was so tired. I was done. I was burnt out. And it was all because I was out of alignment. And so when I was able to step back and kind of look at things and see what is it that I need to do, once I realized I was out of alignment because my values were out of alignment, then it made it easier for me to adjust and I was able to pivot and do what I needed to do to get back in alignment to save myself as well as my business. But I did not quit. I just adjusted and moved on. Of course, I got help. Getting help is always great because sometimes we can't see our blind spots. Sometimes we can't see the things that are burning us out. Sometimes we can't see our eyebrows, like some people would say. And so you need somebody to kind of step in and assist you with that. So definitely listen to your gut when things are no longer aligning. Pivot, do what you need to do. But just understand that God's no is just as powerful as his yes. And you want to give yourself permission to evolve. We're evolving every single day. Whether you have a business or not, personally, you're evolving. And if you start a business, you're going to be evolving professionally. Your business is going to evolve. And the thing is, while you are the CEO or the entrepreneur or whatever it is of your business, if you are that solopreneur, your business is going to evolve as you evolve. So if you're constantly evolving and shifting and changing weekly, monthly, or whatever, your business is going to feel that shift as well. Find out what is going to help you with being more resilient. For me, it's definitely been my faith. My faith is my backbone. So when my plans fall apart, or if I feel like the things aren't going as planned or things aren't going right, I just trust that something greater is coming together because I know God is always working for the good of those who love him. So I hold on to scriptures like, be still and know that I am God. There's a song, Be Still and Know That I Am God. I'm singing the tenor version because, baby, I am not a soprano. But things like that, or affirmations like, I am equipped for everything I'm called to carry. Spiritual resilience helps you endure seasons where visibility is low, but your calling is high. Baby, when that calling is calling, when it is calling, you have no choice but to just keep going and be resilient, okay? As I come to a close on this resilient chit chat about just resilience and entrepreneurship, I look at my journey, I look at, just what I've been through and all the different things I've tried. Y'all, I don't regret any of that stuff. I actually look back and I'm grateful for all the pivoting, for all the different opportunities. All those things have built who I am today. All of those things have contributed to the different levels, the different aspects of me and of my business. So I am truly grateful. Resilient isn't always sexy, y'all. Resilience is not flashy. It can be, being resilient. You deal with a lot of scary things, but you keep pushing through. It's every day you're making a decision to show up again and again. That's all resilience is, just keep showing up and you're just doing it over and over again. You're betting on yourself again and again. You're telling yourself, I see you, I got you, let's keep going. And the beauty of it all is that you're constantly believing that what is for you still has your name on it, even if it takes a little longer to arrive there. If you envision yourself somewhere that you're not in that place yet, it's okay. You're going to get there. But sometimes we have to take different detours, gonna have to take a longer trip. You're gonna have to go to another continent before you circle back to where you need to be, but you will get there. But it is the journey in between that makes it all worth it. So for those of you who are on your entrepreneurial journey, I'm going to leave this with you. What has resilience taught you? Where are you being invited to rise again? Just think about those two things. If you want to learn more about my journey, there's an anthology book with Kim Coles and other young ladies, including myself, called Wisdom Gifts 2. Wisdom Gifts is an inspirational book written by several women, including myself. And in my chapter, I talk about just my journey from my 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship and just what that transition was like and just how intentional I had to be. So, if you want to read about that and other people's journeys as well, definitely grab you a copy. I will put the link below, but it can be found on my website, ontourbeauty.com. Wisdom Gifts 2. Okay, that is the book. Overall, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in on the Next Level Her podcast. If this episode resonates with you in any kind of way, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Connect with me on social media or leave a comment or review. I truly appreciate it. Until next time, keep growing, keep glowing, and keep becoming her. Talk soon.